Hi guys, how you doing? All right. I just wanted to make a quick video regarding these scenes today at the feast of the Black Nazarene, obviously Kwapo, and the amount of people who attended the said event. Whilst I appreciate this is a religious festival and something that's been happening every year, I really do believe this year they should have found another way of celebrating that event or commemorating that event, whatever you want to call it. The fact is, so many people now have been saying the photos are fake and that they're not real and that all of the photos of the mass gatherings were from last year. This makes no sense to me at all. Why was every single one of the devotees wearing masks if it was from last year? You know, the camera doesn't lie. The Philippine Star, the Manila Times, many other news publications had published photos of mass gatherings. It's not excusable. You know, I sent a letter, or I posted a letter earlier on to the Catholic Church to say that should they have done this another way? Maybe they should have done a timed ticketing system. Maybe they should have had an enclosure and people should have been made to queue up with social distancing to get into that enclosure, and they should have had a ticketed of 100 people a time or something like that. The Catholic Church has the infrastructure and enough money to ensure social distancing in that said event. I don't blame the Manila Mayor. I don't blame the people who attended that event, the devotees, because of course, if the Black Nazarene was in a public place, of course people are going to go and see the Black Nazarene. You would expect that, you know, you can't stop people from doing that. The issue is the organisation, the Catholic Church who organised the event. The fact is they shouldn't have even taken the Black Nazarene out of the church. It should have stayed within the church this year, and there should have been barriers around the church to stop people from going in to see it. You know, the fact is that this is exceptionally difficult times. Nobody likes an event to be cancelled, but yet every single event around the world has been cancelled. Many other faiths have postponed or not held their events this year to comply with social distancing. This is an event that's been going on for many years, and I'm sure not going ahead for 1 year would have not been a big sacrifice. You know what really is the sacrifice? The sacrifice is all of the OFWs who can't go home to the Philippines this year and couldn't go home to the Philippines for more than last year because of this rise in COVID. And when you see thousands of people gathering together en masse, you know, there's no doubt about it. This is going to increase COVID infections. And the fact is, you know, the question that I have is, will the Catholic Church pay for all of those hospitalizations? Will the Catholic Church pay for OFWs who have to cancel their flights or change their tickets or get COVID testing as a result of the increase of COVID infections and the ban on them going home? What about the OFWs who haven't seen their whole family for a year? What about those who miss going home to the Philippines to see their loved ones? And this is undoubtedly going to spread infections. Whatever people say, whether they've been using masks, whether they've been using hand gel, the fact is infections will definitely go up as a result of this event. You know, there is no excuse. There can be no possible excuse. And what really I find quite laughable is all of those deniers of the mass gatherings who have basically been saying, oh, these are photos from last year. These are photos from last year. How can they be photos from last year if every single one of those participants are wearing masks? Yeah, you know, I'm grateful that people were trying to take social distancing measures. And I understand there were some photos from earlier in the event posted by the Manila Mayor. And of course, I know people are trying their best, but there should have been a safety advisory group or a SAG meeting which would have gone ahead before this event. And when there was a risk of a large mass gathering, the event should have been cancelled. You know, people can still pray in their houses, people can still pray to God, people can still touch their own icons or pray to their own icons. People can still watch the event online or on Zoom. You know, with this Zoom technology, it would have still been possible to hold some kind of event. But I really do feel today that what took place in Manila wasn't good. It wasn't good scenes, and the problem is the rest of the world's media now, and sorry, the rest of the world's media are now going to be laughing. The rest of the world's population is now going to be looking at scenes in the Philippines and trying to understand why such a massive gathering took place during a time of social distancing and during a time of enhanced community quarantine and during a time where all mass gatherings around the world have been cancelled. This has got to be the only mass gathering in the world that was allowed to take place. And yes, I understand they did try and enforce social distancing. They did try and have certain lanes. They did try and minimize the numbers of people outside the church. But the fact is, whatever they tried to do, you cannot get away from the fact that if you parade the Black Nazarene in a public place, people will want to go ahead and touch it. People will want to be there. You can't help that. Again, I don't blame the people. The people are not responsible. Who is responsible, really, I've got to say, and I hate to say this, who is responsible is the Catholic Church, because for months now they should have been making it very clear on the media that the event will not take place this year and the Black Nazarene would have remained in the church and anyone caught on the street would have been fined. You know, it's really ridiculous scenes. And again, to all of those people who say, oh, they're photos from last year and there was no mass gathering, look at the photos. Look at the photos that I've posted at the Philippine Star. Every single one of those people are wearing masks. Now, cast your mind back to 2020, Black Nazarene, and ask yourself, were those people wearing masks? No, they weren't. So quite clearly, these photos are of this year, and there is no doubt about it. See, Bloom said not only Catholic, Mayor Risco. Now, the way I see it is that Mayor Risco would have obviously, I believe Mayor Risco would have obviously demanded social distancing precautions, would have approached the church and would have asked them to ensure social distancing. I don't really blame the mayor on this one, and I don't really blame the people. Really, as far as I'm concerned, the blame is within the Catholic Church because they have the publicity, they have the money, they have the resources to make it very, very clear that this year's event is cancelled. They should have been publicising that now on every single television station, every single advert, every single media for the last 12 months. They should have said it is not going ahead this year. Why is it the case that this particular festival of the Black Nazarene is allowed to take place and yet other religious festivals around the world have been postponed? What makes the Catholic Church any different? That they think regardless of all the social distancing, regardless of all the protocols, this event can still take place. Something had to be done on high. There should have been proper communication by the Catholic Church and by the relevant authorities to say that this event wasn't taking place. Anyway, guys, I've got my soapbox off my chest. I had to say something. I applaud all the other religions around the world for postponing their religious festivals for this year. But I don't believe the Catholic Church should have really made this event go ahead. And I really do believe if there is a massive increase in infections, then the Catholic Church should be paying the medical bills of all of those who were infected. Anyway, guys, thanks.